What is going on, Earth 2 enthusiast, novice, and everyone in between? I hope you guys are having a lovely Sunday. I've got so much going on, but I wanted to carve out some time to give you guys some updates on what's going on with Earth 2. I'm also going to be doing an announcement for the free land giveaway. And before I forget, I will also be doing an announcement for the referral code purchases. If you guys don't know, if you're new, once a week, I give away land that I've purchased. What I basically do is if you use my referral code, that money will go into an account. With that account, it's a special account that's separate from my personal account. With that account, I basically get your referral money. I purchase land with it. You've seen in other videos, like I just did one where I was buying land in Minsk. Check out that video. And then I give away that land once a week. So I basically use the collective money from viewers to buy land and then give back to you guys. So you're probably asking, how do I get the free land? How do I get you to use my referral code? Well, here's what you do. If you look in the show notes, there's going to be a link to a form. You fill out that form, and that will put you into the raffle. From that form, I basically pick your referral code to use yours when I make those purchases. And then I also use that list to get you the free land giveaway. At the end of this, if you comment your code while I'm live, at the end of this, I'll pick somebody else. So a third person will win the opportunity to have me use the funds or use your referral code when I spend those funds on some new land. I also, so what's going on? Number one, if you're watching this live, that means you're watching it on Intentional Being, my new YouTube channel that is more dedicated to the Earth 2 content. So congratulations for being on the right channel. If you're not watching this live, that means you're catching it late. That means that it's already been recorded. This is already done. And you're watching this probably on mealprepbiz101.com, which I don't mind. But if you want to participate in the live stuff, you definitely want to make sure you're subscribed and you have the alert notifications on for Intentional Being. And there will be a link to Intentional Being in the show notes. What else am I discussing? Well, the CEO, Shane Isaac, had some updates that he wanted to share with everyone. So I'm going to mention some of those. I'm going to read those from right from the horse's mouth, really. They are involving something I'm really excited about, a new hire that they have. And that I think is pretty cool, as well as some updates about some questions people have had about the currency and a tip that he has for selling. Let me get right into the land giveaway because I know a lot of people are probably antsy about that. I'd like to congratulate Gabriella M. I'm not going to say your full last name, but I believe there was a Gabriel and a Gabriella, and both had the last initial M's. But this is, I just want to confirm, Gabriel, I'm sorry, it's not you. Gabriella M. I will be shooting you an email and coordinating that land. So congratulations, you just inherited a bunch of land. And thank all your fellow viewers, because you guys are the ones who have been using the referral code, which I appreciate. Gives back to you guys. I see some comments. Love your videos, man. Like your videos. See a heart from Ben. I appreciate the support. I love you guys. Remember, enter your referral codes in the comments while I'm live. Before I get off, I will pick somebody randomly and grab your referral codes for my future purchases that I'm going to be making today. And then from the list, I'm going to be using the referral code for Gene. Actually, I started earlier today, Gene SP. Those are the initials. Again, I'm not going to say the last name, but Gene SP. Congratulations, Gene. I will be using your referral code. Let's get into some of the announcements. And I don't want to spend too much time. I know you guys are probably busy. I know I am busy. But I thought these announcements were cool. I know not everybody has the time to be digging through the internet. So I like bringing this information to you guys. That's how I am. I always look at, like, there's certain people who I appreciate the way they think, the information that they're into. And that's really where I get my news sources from in some stuff. So first, let's start with the one that I'm most excited about. Actually, let me start with a warning. Shane Isaac, the CEO of Earth2.io. If you guys aren't familiar with Shane, Shane's one of the many brilliant brains behind the project. He had a warning. I've got a scam video where I go over some of the scams that are out there. Unfortunately, not everybody is going to be honest, and there are more and more creative scams coming out. So I'm going to keep updating you guys on those. I'll probably do another scam video just to have like a concise list of everything so you don't miss anything. But check out the other scam video because I won't discuss them all here. The new one that I heard of is, and this is why I'm going to be very diligent about getting rid of two things. That I have an assistant that helps me with my YouTube videos, and that assistant is right now instructed to delete comments that have any links in them. So if you put a link into anything in the comments, your comment's probably going to get deleted. And I'll tell you why. Links and also codes. There's people who are saying like, use my referral code for 10% off or 15% off or whatever else. That's all garbage. So links or codes, if you want to leave me a comment, please do so without a link or a code, because there are scammers out there. This one is a new one. So there are people who are creating fake URLs, and Shane says, do not log into any websites with your Earth2 account details unless it's https://EARTH2.io. Be very, very careful, because what is going on is people are making very similar links, or they're making like a hyperlink that is titled Earth2.io, and people are clicking on that and they're going to log in to what they think is Earth2. But some scammers, some scummy people out there, unfortunately, and I wish them the best. I hope they have a change of heart and they realize that they're not going to get far in life by doing stuff like this. But they're making sites that look just like Earth2, and they're putting links out there that people are clicking on, and people are trying to log into their account. And then we're obviously used to seeing like, oh, the servers are being overworked, or we've got some scheduled maintenance. So you're not going to think anything of it when you click on a link and go to log into your Earth2 account, and that pops up and you're not able to log in. You're like, oh, I'll try again later. Well, what they're doing is they're creating these fake accounts. They're getting people to log in using their real Earth2 login information, and now they have your login information. That's not good. So be very, very careful. When I don't follow any links to earth2.io. That is what I would recommend. Whenever you are going to log in, make sure you're typing it in, not following a link or anything. So that's something right from Shane. He says, for example, we announced 3 days ago that there was also there's an app. Someone created some apps. The earth2.io app isn't out. If there's anybody out there, and I also see YouTube accounts that are using the Earth2 logo, and they're calling their YouTube account like Earth2.io official or Earth2 official, something like that. They're not official. Whatever information that they're spewing out, be very, very cautious. Anybody who's trying to look like the official Earth2 and is not, just assume they're a scammer. They're already open to deceiving you. That's a horrible place to be getting any kind of information or having any affiliation with. So I would avoid those places like the plague. But they've also been creating fake apps, and people, I already looked for an Earth2 app, like right when I found out about this. And then on the live stream with the developers, they mentioned that the app wasn't out yet, but people are creating apps, people are downloading the app, and who knows what you're signing up for. You're trusting it and clicking agree. So now you have this nefariously designed app, this misleading app on your phone, getting God knows what information because you agreed to it. So be very cautious out there. There's a lot of scammers, unfortunately. They are working on a two-phase authentication, which is something else that Shane mentioned in that announcement. They are working on getting some two-phase factor identification, so it will be harder to log into accounts illegitimately. Just like all my cryptocurrency accounts, all my trading accounts, I have that second stage of authentication just to take an extra couple of seconds just to make sure that you are being protected, because you guys would hate to have your accounts wiped out or someone get into it, under the wrong circumstances. I don't know if they'd be able to get the money out, but you just don't want them in there. Eventually getting money out is going to be easier. So you definitely want to protect yourselves. So the announcement that I was very excited to make, now that we've done that cautious one, and I have one more announcement from Shane about caution, but I'll get to that later. The one that I'm really excited about is, this is right from Shane, so I'll read it verbatim. Bear with me. Earth2 is proud to announce the addition of Farron Galvan. Farron, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, to our team. He will fill the position as lead technical artist. Now, I haven't heard about this guy before, but we will go into the details of who this dude is and why it's so exciting. I did look him up after the fact, and he is quite the prodigy. Creating virtual worlds in all kinds of editors since he just turned 7. So this dude started creating virtual worlds when he was 7. Farron needed 2 days at the age of 12 from starting with 3D Studio Max to finish his first Star Wars ship model. So 2 days at the age of 12, learning this brand new software. Sounds like a prodigy. Before attending university, he already was a household name in the Turbo Squid, on Turbo Squid. Turbo Squid is like a, it seems like it's a marketplace kind of for 3D models. So you can make, let's say I'm making a video game, or I'm making some kind of maybe a immersive real estate plan, and I don't want to have to design everything that's there. People go on to Turbo Squid, from what I understand, and they basically make these 3D models that then you can buy. So you can have a 3D helicopter or Star Wars ship or Earth, and that's what Turbo Squid is. Ending up with 400 models up for sale there, and an encompassing knowledge of the creation and technical backgrounds of graphics production. One of his works is the largest model of Earth available to this date. So this guy has made this very young gentleman, this prodigy, Farron, has made the largest 3D model of Earth digitally available to date. Sounds like he's the perfect person for this project, doesn't it? Nathaniel talked to him, and Nathaniel's one of the other guys there. Nathaniel talked to him into joining Drone. And from there, the next logical step was to try to build an even bigger model of Mother Earth, Earth2. And now this is a quote. Everybody in this industry knows how difficult and important it is to find a great technical artist, explains Shane Isaac, CEO of Earth2. We are grateful and proud to fill this position with someone as capable as Farron. Further quotes. Joining Earth2 was one of the highest risks to our endeavor. I don't think he's a native English speaker. Let me try to finding the lead technical artist, the person who can bring all the great graphics to the screen, says Ralph Adams, CPO of Earth2. Having checked that key position with Farron so soon just feels great and shows we are on track to really pull off this unique and innovative thing called Earth2. When I first learned about Earth2 project, and this is Farron. When I first learned about the Earth2 project, says Farron, I was shocked about the concept, the sheer scope, and I couldn't stop thinking of it until I had talked with Shane. And then I was thinking, of course, and then the thinking, of course, didn't stop. 7 years ago, I created the biggest Earth available on the 3D marketplace. It is still on the top, but I always wanted to go further. Here, finally, is the opportunity I've been waiting for. Well, Farron, it doesn't get any bigger than this. And I checked out the guy's LinkedIn, Farron, and I also checked out his Turbo Squid account. You can go ahead and look for him. I think his name on there is GALVA858. Not that you need to, but this guy is basically an expert. Doesn't even begin to describe the level of aptitude this gentleman Farron has. So he is basically the Jedi. He is the black belt. He is the reigning world champ for developing 3D models, and he's got some really impressive stuff. Like I keep on bringing up the helicopters. He's got a slew of helicopters there, and I suggest you check that out if you want to get a little bit more excited. But this is so now just think about some of the people we already have. I'll just go off the top of my head. We've got one of the founders of Oculus, pretty experienced in VR, already bought up by Facebook. And now we've got a, like I keep saying prodigy. I want to find a better word to use, but I think that is the most appropriate. The prodigy, the guy who's the best, probably on the face of the planet, probably the best person for this team, has just joined this team. So things are going to happen faster. Imagine the ideas that this kid has. He's been playing around with 3D models since he was 7. So imagine the ideas that he has. He created a 3D model of Earth that is the largest 3D model of Earth 7 years ago, and it is still on top. So what does that tell you about how hard it is to make something bigger? He hasn't been bested in that feat in 7 years, and now he's about to beat himself basically with, by joining this team. Very excited about that. So, if this was a stock, if this was a company, if this was cryptocurrency, when you bring on more skill, I've mentioned this in another video when I was talking about how companies increase their value. So if this was a stock and they were to announce that they just hired this guy, let's say this was a publicly traded company and they have a stock out there, this announcement would start shooting the stock through the roof. Just a rumor of an announcement like this, if this was a publicly traded company, would start shooting the value of that stock through the roof. So I'm very excited about this. I'm so amped on Earth2. All of my friends are gradually converting more and more. And it's funny, I was just having a conversation with one yesterday who's already in it. He's already purchasing, but then he's like, yeah, but how big could this really get? Like, he's still looking at it as like, it's going to be like, it's a cool game and I'm interested in it, but and at the end of the conversation, he was amped, and he's looking to dive a little bit deeper financially in it as well. Not that I'm trying to convince anybody to do it. And I've got another video where I, tell you guys, I mentioned this on all of my videos, but I have another video that tells you how much how to find what's comfortable for you to invest. I always suggest you don't invest anything that you can't afford to lose, obviously, because just like a stock, anything could happen. If these guys are all, on a jet plane, congratulating each other right before they drop a launch and that jet plane goes down, so does all of this. So be cautious. There's no such thing as a guaranteed thing. But let's go on to some more of those announcements. From Shane, dear Earth2 users, we hope you are well. The Earth2 servers will be offline for approximately 1 hour. Yada, yada, yada. That was kind of, that's already happened. So support email, please bear with us as we are working on moving new systems, which will help improve the support experience. Probably going to do a support ticket experience, I'd imagine. It has been kind of like a rudimentary email system so far from my interactions with it, and it'll definitely help them organize things to have like a robust CRM that's helping manage that. The new system should be operational within the next 3 to 4 weeks, and it will allow us to monitor the progress on support tickets, keep users better informed, and improve response. Withdrawals. Our withdrawals team are working 7 days a week and have processed thousands of payments. We are sorry for the delay, but we need to check requests carefully, as it is imperative that we are paying out the correct person affiliated with the relevant account, especially, as I mentioned before, when we have some scammers who are getting into people's accounts. TransferWise significantly reduces the fees you would otherwise have to pay to receive the funds. And for now, we're still covering the cost for the transfer. So that's very nice of them. Often people give us incorrect bank details, which means we have, and I'll tell you about my experience so far with trying to get a transfer out, which means we need to update the same transfer 2 to 3 times each until it's successful. If you'd like to help us help you, please consider signing up for a free TransferWise account. There's also a link in the show notes for a TransferWise account. I'd appreciate it if you guys were to use my referral code to do that. I think I'll get like a kickback if I have 3 people who do a TransferWise account for like over $300, something like that. So that'd be cool. I appreciate that. Every little bit counts, goes right back into Earth2. We are working on new transfer options that will help streamline the experience, but please bear with us for now. We will get you your withdrawal requests, and it will just take a little while. Thank you for your ongoing support and your understanding and patience as we handle such rapid growth and all that comes with it. You may not see us as often these days, but I assure you that the team members are working very long hours in order to fix the above issues, expand the team, bring phase 2, prepare exciting announcements, and set strong foundations and more. Thank you. Sorry for this. Sorry for the not super exciting update. I thought that was a good update because it's nice to know that there is progress being made. I know the background on a little bit of how they've been having issues finding a good transfer, money transferring account company to work with. I signed up for TransferWise. I tried to do it there's 2 ways right now that you can get money out. You can give them your bank information, or you can use a TransferWise account. I tried with the bank information just to see how long that would take. And like they said, they did get back to me. They basically said I needed to give them a Swift ID number, which I didn't know what that was at the time. So I researched it, got it, found the Swift ID number for my bank, sent that back to them. And then they sent me a confirmation saying, hey, you're approved, the money is coming. And then like a day or 2 later, I sent them a frantic email saying, hey, could you pause this? I actually want to have it directed into another account. So I actually haven't had my money come out successfully, but I will say that it is my fault because I told them, pause it. I want to switch my account details, and kind of had to start the process over again. So sorry, guys. I know that's not something you want to be doing twice. But there was also some speculation as to what the value of the Earth2 currency was going to be. For those of you who are familiar with cryptocurrency, you're probably familiar with the term stable coin. A stable coin is like the US dollar tether. It's meant to be consistent with a standard, a conventional fiat currency. So the US dollar tether that you see is a cryptocurrency coin, but it's known as a stable coin because it's not meant to have these fluctuations in value. It's meant to align with the US dollar, for instance. So they're going to be doing something similar to that with the e-dollars, it sounds like, and that's what Shane addresses here. Dear Earth2 users, $1 equals $1 US dollars. Nothing is changing there. He says that he's in the hospital with his youngest daughter, and we'll make a more formal announcement about updates soon. Thank you. They're just talking candidly with everybody. He says he's just talking candidly with everybody. The decisions we make are in the best interest of Earth2. And if sometimes we make a decision that may not make sense, there's usually a reason for it. And that reason is usually good for everyone involved with Earth2.io. He says IEU, for example, you. We want Earth2 to be around for years and decades. We're not thinking weeks or months. We have something very special, and we are in this for the long run. Also, just one tip, and this is what I wanted to mention to you guys. Please, please be careful when you're placing your property for sale on the marketplace. And I've mentioned this in other videos. There are people on there 24/7, and if you accidentally advertise for a low price, chances are someone will snap it up instantly. Phase 2 intro is coming too. Elements of phase 2 are coming soon. Video is coming soon. Earth2 is in motion. So to elaborate, to expand on that, if I were to let's say I wanted to sell my property, like at a property that was currently valued at, I don't know, let's say it's valued at $5, the property that I'm looking to sell. And if I were to accidentally put it in for 50 cents because I'm not watching where I'm putting that decimal point, I won't always have the time to go in there, fix it, and correct it. There are people who are constantly all over the world who are constantly logging on. And one of the most popular ways to sort is going to be by, when you go into the marketplace, if you're not familiar with it, you're able to sort it by the land value. So you could basically see the stuff that has the best discount first. So if I were to put something in at 1/10 of the price that its market value is, it would probably go right to the top of that list and someone would buy it immediately. So be very careful when you go to sell on the marketplace, because you do not want to be, kicking your own legs out from under yourself financially. Phase 2, I just saw a question. Do you know when phase 2 begins? No. I have seen people on forums and threads and videos who are claiming they know when phase 2 is going to be. I had other people, someone claimed it was going to be January 1st. January 1st came and went. The fact of the matter is the developers haven't told you when phase 2 is going to be. I don't think they know yet. They said that they were going to be launching it as soon as possible, which means they are working on it. It's not like they're waiting for a certain time. They're waiting for it to be done. They might give us a small heads up like, hey guys, here comes phase 2, or they might just launch us right into phase 2 and say, hey, phase 2 is live. Here's how it goes. Now, phase 2, for those of you who don't know, and I have a video, check out my video that goes into the phases. It goes into a bigger, it'll be more detailed than I want to get into here because I don't want to waste too much time. But the theme, the overall takeaway with phase 2 is resources. We'll start getting resources. It'll be a secondary economy. Right now, the economy is basically, the economy on Earth right now is just buying and selling land. So that's how you're able to make money. Phase 2, we introduce another economy, which is going to be resources. Our land will develop resources. We'll be able to buy, sell, and trade resources. And with those resources, we'll be able to build stuff. Shane has said he wants to have many economies on Earth too. So this will be very much like real world. Like eventually there will be enough economies where people, mention this in other videos, people will have businesses in Earth 2 exclusively, just like people have Amazon businesses that only exist on Amazon and nowhere else. That will exist in Earth 2. You will be able to have a job, maybe a gig job, maybe a full-time job on Earth 2. And I go into all this in other videos, other theories that I won't bore you with now. Let me look at some of these questions. If I have some other stuff that pops up in my mind, I'll mention it. But otherwise, I will pick one of these referral codes. So make sure you have a referral code in here, and I will use yours for my purchases later today. Let me see some of these questions that we've got going from the top. All right, I see some promo or some referral codes in there. I appreciate the love. I'm going to highlight some of the love as I go through these codes. So it starts with Ben dropping the heart. Love your videos, man. Like your videos. Promo code. Ben, appreciate the support. I've seen a couple of the links like you're describing. Yeah, so those are the scammer links. They're out there. Be very careful. Don't click on any links unless it's a link that's going to like another video or something like that. That's fine. But don't sign up through any links. Don't sign into your Earth 2 account through any links. It's just bad news bears. Hey, Dinu. Thank you. I appreciate the love. Glad you're appreciating the channel. Glad you guys are on the right channel. Thank you for tuning in. Let me read these. Do you know anything about the requirements of running this game? If it end up being like Fight Sim, it'd be hard to average Joe to invest in person. Okay, so from what I understand, this will actually be kind of like a platform where it can host a multitude of different games. So there could be a versus component where you play against other players. The developers also mentioned that that's not necessarily something you have to do. It's going to be very optional. This is going to be the biggest sandbox game out there. So imagine games like Grand Theft Auto Live. You can participate in missions. You can run your own thing. You can go around, shooting other players and all sorts of stuff like that. It's going to be like that and probably beyond a scale that we can imagine. And there will probably be different features and abilities that we can't even imagine yet, because this is going to be the first of its kind. So I think it's going to be way bigger than just a flight sim. Oh, I thought you said fight sim. It's going to be way bigger than a flight simulator. It's going to be bigger than just a player versus player thing. It's going to be something substantial, and it'll have all of that in there. I think you will be able to do flight simulations and all that other fun stuff. Let's see. Stable coins. Yep. That's what we're talking. I keep that. It makes it easier to build an economy off of that. Like Facebook has announced they want to do a stable coin for their e-commerce systems and stuff like that. Do you know when phase 2 will begin? No. I think phase 2 will be within the first quarter of 2021. Again, I'm not basing that off of anything other than a hunch. So don't take that to the bank. And I will tell you right now, I'll tell you when I know something and I'll tell you when I don't know something. That's just a guess. I think it will be in 2021's first quarter. So that will be February or March probably. And, but I might be wrong. And then I know that they want to get phase 3 launched within this year. And I think they'll have it done by the end of the year, but phase 3 it just became a lot easier. Phase 3 is when we are actually able to get on Earth2 through VR, AR. We'll be able to actually get onto the terrain. And I think with the hiring of Farron, it probably just expedited that timeline. So that's good news for us. Do you think they will specifically make a VR headset that you have to use? I don't think it will be one set. I think they're going to want to make this as accessible as possible. So not only will there be a VR component where you can like plug into your Oculus, probably, considering Mr. CO is one of the founders of Oculus, but I'm sure you'll be able to get on through a multitude of different VR systems. They also said that they want to have an app that will be more of an AR kind of interaction. And then you also be able to use your PC and just like log on to the website and play around. So they want to make this as accessible as possible. They don't want to put a barrier of equipment in front of people. Everyone's got a cell phone, right? So I think the app is going to be huge because even people who are in less developed countries or more impoverished countries, or people who just don't have the money to spend on an Oculus, almost everybody has a smartphone, right? Let's go. Possible future value. I mean, this is it's really hard to put a cap on this, because right now I know so many people who don't even know what Earth2 is, and the US is already above $40. Like, I haven't even checked today what the price of the US is, but I know last week when I looked a few days ago, I haven't bought in the US for a while. I own stuff in the US, but I'm not buying in the US anymore because it left class 1 a while ago. It's in like, I don't know, class 5 or 6 now. So there's not really as much value as there is buying into other cheaper land where your money goes further. But as far as a cap, I mean, in the next year, in the next 5 years, in the next decade, I mean, look at Bitcoin. Look at what Bitcoin has done in like a decade. 2010, it was like pennies, you know? So, and people are only more inclined to make investments in virtual assets because of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I think that, I think we're going to see the beginning. I think we're still in the phase where we're going to be like, remember when the US was only $40? As much as I don't want to spend $40 per tile on the US right now, I think there's going to be a point where it's like, remember when it was only $40? Because I remember when it was at $10. I've got someone in the comments of one of my videos who said, man, the good old days when the US was only $10. I got in when it was at $378 the first day, and I watched it climb that day. And I was telling my friends, I was like, guys, now it's at $388. Guys, now it's at, you know, $392. Guys, now it's at $4. Okay. Do you think it is smart to buy class 1 tiles from lesser known countries, or do you think we will be stuck with those tiles forever and they do not sell? I think that we're still so early in the game that there are going to be lesser known countries. I think we're going to see development in lesser known countries just because we're going to have groups of people who are buying up those lands. So it's hard to predict. We know what areas will definitely be popular. Let's say that. Like, I can imagine Manhattan is going to be popular. I can imagine London is going to be popular. Paris is going to be popular. Tokyo is going to be popular. But I can't tell you that Tonga isn't going to be popular, because if someone bought up a bunch of land, or a group of people bought up a bunch of land there, and they bought it when it was cheap and they got a lot of it, and they had an idea of something they wanted to build, a theme park or something, all of a sudden we've got some awesome Earth2 VR theme park or game or whatever going on, racetrack or something that's in some country we've never heard of, or on some island we've never heard of. So class 1, I think, always has value over, and I mentioned this in another video, so check out the beginner series, but class 1 is obviously always going to have a higher value than class 2. So unless there's a huge difference in price, I would go with the class 1, even if you have to pay a little bit more, because class 1, even in an obscure country, they've already said you're going to get more resources. There's more potential resources to be rendered from that. And I'm assuming that's like over an amount of time. So the amount of resources you'll be able to pull out in one day from a class 1 tile versus class 2 or 3, it's going to be more in class 1. And then also the advertising. The advertising income potential is going to be higher. So the two main ways of generating future revenue, the two most substantial ways other than flipping property, but consistent residual revenue, are going to be very dependent upon that class one. So even if it's some obscure country, like, I don't care, dude, I'll buy it. You know, I'm buying all sorts of countries I've nenever heard of before, ever had any intention of visiting. Do you have a Discord that we can join? I do not have a Discord. I'll think of putting one together, and I'll update you guys. I've heard of that before. I am on some Discords. I didn't think I had enough to contribute. In the Discords I've been on are always like structured very appropriately, and I just don't feel like I have the aptitude or bandwidth to really come up with an intelligent one. But I'll start a simple one maybe for you guys. When did Earth2 start? I only heard about it in December, but I heard others bought in around August. I didn't. I think I first heard about it in November. I'm not sure when they launched, but I first heard about it in November. I will actually look into that, and I'll get you that answer. I had the impression that it started somewhere around there. August is the furthest back I've heard of it. I didn't hear it was around that early back. I thought November was still early. In fact, I think maybe they're around, but I remember Shane mentioning their growth rate was pretty crazy right in the beginning of actually December is when their growth rate started. The day I got in the 18th of December, and they started exploding, like I think on the 19th, they said. Do you know when certain countries will be open? They are working on that. That's one of the questions everyone has. They haven't disclosed that yet. I think they're going to make an announcement on their social media. That's what they've said. So they haven't set a date in advance yet. I think it will be a very short heads up. So be ready for that, because Israel and Dubai and the UAE, those areas are going to be bought up very quickly, I imagine, because there's a lot of interest in them, and they're going to be immediately the only class one. Right now, there's no class one tiles left aside from the reserved countries, or restricted countries, I should say. They are working through legal and religious issues. I guess the red tape, they don't want to upset some people. I don't know. It's just a video game, right? We'll see. You mentioned somewhere that you could get 10% off with your codes. How do you do that? The 10% off. So the way I was doing the 10%, not 10% off, it's a rebate. But the way I was doing that was back when tiles were 10 cents. If you use the 5% code, or 5% back, you would get a penny back if you bought one 10-cent tile. So I was buying individual tiles at 1 cent. And a lot of people are like, oh, there's no value in having small amounts of tiles. Like, everybody wants, you have to buy big amounts of tiles. That's nonsense, because when somebody wants to buy from you, they want to buy in small chunks. Not a lot of people want to buy 100 tiles. So I was doing what was counter to the advice of a lot of people, and I think that was still a good strategy. But right now, you can't get 10% back. That was a little bit of like a loophole, because basically the way that works out is if it was a 10-cent tile and they only gave you 5% back, they'd have to give you a half penny, and they couldn't cut the pennies in half, obviously. So they give you a full penny, which is 10%. So that was the loophole. And it took some patience, because you had to buy one tile at a time, but I was doing that a lot. And yeah, so that will be available as soon as, if you want to try that, as soon as Dubai and the UAE and Israel and those other restricted countries, as soon as those come off restriction, you can again do that by one tile at a time. Use the code. Please use my referral code. That'd be great. And then you'll be able to get 10% of your money back. What countries are still class one? Only the restricted countries. All of the other countries have gone into class 2 or further. I have a video that explains the land classes, but basically it's every 100,000 tiles that are sold moves it to the next class. So if you go into the countries list and you look at all the available countries, they've all moved to class 1 or class 2 or further, I should say. Why are countries restricted? That is because of religious and legal stuff. You probably asked that right when I was mentioning it. So just wanted to reiterate that for anybody who didn't catch that. They are trying to work through the red tape and those countries will inevitably be released. I don't know if they're going to do them all at one time or like one after another, as they are able to. I'm assuming they would do it as they're able to. I don't think there's any advantage of them clearing it with all those countries and then releasing them all at once. But, you know, I wouldn't hold out on those because, like I said, the interest in that land is going to skyrocket. I mean, obviously, those are religious wise. Those are some, you know, like really important lands. Like there's billions of people on the planet who that's a very important piece of land, and they're going to be very interested in that. Aside from the fact that there's obviously some oil under some of this land, and there's, you know, some financial interests in there. So there's a lot of reason that that land will skyrocket. So if you can get anything, what I would suggest is don't get discouraged by whatever the price is in the first week or something. It's probably going to seem ridiculous. It's not going to be 10 cents for more than an hour. I bet it's going to skyrocket, but I think it's going to continue to rise. And until all of that land is bought up, I would assume that I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for it, because whenever those unrestricted lands come in or come off the restriction, I'm going to be diving into it. Even if I'm buying some like place that's like out in the middle of a field, I think that it's still going to be a good buy. So if you can't get like right downtown in a big city or anything, I know everybody wants to buy like Dubai. Some British guy already bought up the tallest tower in the world, the Khalif, whatever building. And I was really excited when I first went to Dubai because I saw he bought that building, but I was like, oh, I'm going to buy the buildings right next to it because nobody's bought that yet. Oh, nobody bought that yet because it was restricted. I think it was unrestricted at first. Some people were buying, then they ran into some legal or religious issues, had to put it on restriction. And then some other people were also scamming some loopholes in the system that allowed them to buy in those restricted cities, but they shut that down as well. Let's see what else we got. I'm about to wrap up, so make sure you've got your promo code entered in, your referral code, and I'll be using that for my purchases today. I believe they opened up Dubai for a small amount of time and brought, I don't know when it was open. By the time I got to it, it was already restricted. I think, like I said, I think it was open, and then they're like, whoa, Dubai is getting mad at us. The UAE is getting mad at us. Israel's getting mad at us. Let's close these down right now because we don't want to tick anybody off. Because who knows what could happen if you don't do it the right way. Maybe that country, you know, you guys saw Trump was banning, you know, going to ban TikTok in the US. These guys want this game, this platform. I try calling it a game and then I hesitate. They want this platform. They want Earth2 as accessible as possible. So they want to be cool with all the diplomatic issues and religious issues in all of these countries. And for those of you who are in the US, you have to remember there's other countries where there's not that separation of church and state. Like in the US, we're founded on the separation of church and state. In some of these countries, their religious leaders and their government leaders are like intertwined. So that's why this is an extremely sensitive issue, because it's not just like pissing off the church or the mosque or the temple or the religion. That's also pissing off the government who controls and regulates everything. So that's why this is super delicate in certain areas. There's a group of islands off the coast of East Africa called the Other Islands. I'm sure it's still class 1. I'm gonna have to check that out. See, now it's based on the country, so I haven't seen a country. I will check out the other islands and see if they're class 1. What I would do is do a test purchase maybe and buy 1 square, because you don't want to be spending a bunch of money thinking that you found a loophole and you're getting a bunch of class 1 and it's not. It might be class 3. So the way I normally do it is I verify on the countries list to see that it's still in a class 1 range. And if it is, then I purchase it. Otherwise, before purchasing it, I would maybe make a test purchase with 1 tile, make the purchase, go into your profile, and then verify that it's still class 1 indeed. But I will check those out, Jaden. What are you excited for from Earth2? Everything. It's going to be so big. I'm, like I said before, I made another video where I said that I think it's going to be bigger than human beings learning to talk. And It's bigger than the internet. It's bigger than going to Mars. Our ability to transcend, like I always suggest there's some shows and some movies that you should watch. There's definitely some literature that will get your brain thinking about this, like books. Check out The Future is Faster Than You Think. Combine that with the movie Ready Player One. Combine that with Black Mirror. Watch the Netflix series Black Mirror. Combine all that stuff together and start putting those ideas together. The stuff that is not, there's technology that we think is a decade off and it's 2 years away or faster. There is stuff that we will be seeing within our lifetime that human beings have never even dreamt of before. And it is going to come at such an accelerated path or accelerated rate that the things that will be possible that are right now either not even in your thought, or if I were to bring it up, you'd think it's impossible or like decades away. It's going to be very quick. I think within the next decade, we will see the singularity, which is where we load consciousness up into a database and we create something like an Earth2 platform where, as Elon Musk describes it, the video game is so realistic that it is indistinguishable from reality, and people will opt to go there. There's an there's a Black Mirror episode where people who are in a coma or terminally ill, they opt to have their consciousness basically recreated and uploaded into a server where they can live any life they want to live, all these different timelines, and do whatever, and basically live in this electronic heaven. And I think that is going to be something that we see in the next decade. People think that that I'm crazy probably for saying that. They think that that technology is way far off. Let's watch. Let's give me 9 years and let's come back to this video. Listen to or read. It's on Audible. The Future is Faster Than You Think. It's a very good book. It goes over all sorts of stuff. It is factual based. This is not a fiction book. But it talks about all these technologies that are out there that we're not seeing yet, but they're like that close. And as soon as something comes out, it immediately has competitors. Competition drives the price cheaper. It accelerates innovation. Like all these things. Look at like 10 years ago, how many people were going to the moon? Or 20 years ago, how many people were going to the moon or trying to go to Mars? Now we've got SpaceX. Now we've got Virgin Galactic. Now we've got Jeff Bezos. All these breakthroughs that each one has individually, that information is then shared with the other ones. It's I love referring to Roger Bannister. He was the first person in history to run the 4-minute mile. Before Roger Bannister ran the 4-minute mile, people said it was impossible. It's scientists, doctors, everyone said it was impossible. As soon as he did it, 0 people did it before him. Then as soon as he did it, people have run a 4-minute mile every single year. Multiple times people have run a 4-minute mile every single year. Why? Because human beings realized that it was possible. So they removed all these restrictions. Once we see something done, it becomes doable. It's no longer impossible. So I'm excited about, sorry, I got it. I'm obviously very excited about it. I'm excited about so much. Just notice it's not dollars on Earth2. It's now E2. Yeah, that is the announcement that Shane was referring to. I guess they've converted it over. So technically, we're converting our money yet. I'm wondering when this is going to get regulated, because this is very similar to cryptocurrency to me. I mentioned that before. I've been in cryptocurrency for years, and this has a lot of that same feel. Are you fearful about this becoming as bad as the real world in Ready Player One? I think our real world is on a course where if we don't heed the warnings of literature, and I mean, you look at everyone's, a lot of people are familiar with 1984 and Brave New World and those types of books that predicted so much that is so relevant, so eerily relevant about today. And I think stuff like Ready Player One and Elysium and those future dystopians that seem so far-fetched, if you sat down and thought about it, you're like, oh, I could definitely see people doing this, because the guys who write this stuff they're normally pretty intelligent. And a lot of these works of art are they're almost like they're oracles predicting the future. And I don't know if it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, or we just don't heed the warnings. We don't take it seriously because people are like, that's too far-fetched. That's like Blade Runner. That only happens in movies. Is art imitating life, or is life imitating art? I just checked. The country is called Seychelles. It's gone past 100K. Yeah. Okay, so those are the other islands. Yeah, it looks like that was probably a great deal. I've never heard of that country. It hasn't come up on my radar in the list. The video I just posted was, I think Minsk is, I think Belarus is class 2. The video I posted shows you how I go through my process of finding some cheap land and using that country's list. I haven't seen Seychelles on there, so maybe that country's list isn't completely inclusive. Maybe there are some loopholes in some countries that may be still class 1. I'll have to do another look specifically for that country to see if it comes up on that list or not, but who knows. There's a bunch of weird countries that I don't know if they're really considered countries, or if they're like sovereign unions or independent territories. So I definitely want to do, what's interesting is I'm learning so much about geography and all these places I never knew existed. Uranium, I saw that pop up. What's your opinion on uranium? Do you think it's a smart natural resource to buy since it's used for power? That is, that's a good question. That is something I was debating with my friend. Like, how specific are they going to get with the resources? Is aluminum in tin and gypsum and ruby mines, like, are those all going to have value, or are they just going to stick with the more simplistic stuff like gold and brick and timber and water and silica or something like that? I think that they want to make this very, for lack of a better word, complicated. Detailed is much better than complicated. I do think that uranium, I mean, they've got oil. If they mentioned on their live stream, like they gave that as an example, that oil would be a resource. So if oil is going to be a resource, why not uranium? I haven't bought any uranium yet, but I definitely, if I found a uranium mine, I should go search for a uranium mine and maybe hedge my bets, pick up some uranium. All right, we're coming up on an hour. Man, I thought this would be like 10, 15 minutes. Great questions, though. I love the questions. I'm not mad about going longer, because that means that you guys were asking me questions and that you guys aren't sick of me. I try to keep it short so that you guys don't get sick of me. But let's pick I've got a random number generator. Basically, I tell it how many numbers we have, and it'll pick a random one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. All right, I'm going to put in, we've got 10 referral codes, and randomly picks 7. So now we'll pick lucky number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Ryox, congratulations. I will be using your code for the purchase. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, if you want another chance to win, check out the form. Congratulations to Gabriella M., who won the land giveaway, and to Gene SP, whose referral code I was using off of the list. If you want to enter that list as well, again, another chance to win the referral code. Plus, I send you updates. I send you updates on stuff that I find, gold mines, salt mines, cool news, stuff that, you know, when I don't have enough time to make a video, I at least get it out through email. So make sure you sign up for that referral, or the referral raffle, through the contact form below. And maybe next time I'll be making purchases with your land, or with your referral code. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Best of luck in Earth 2. Remember, don't invest more than you can afford to lose. As exciting as this is, as amazing as this opportunity is, as bullish as I am on it, as confident as I am in it, you know, anything could happen. Like Tesla, what would happen if Elon Musk died tomorrow, Tesla stock would go down. No matter how good the company is, a lot of it is based on Tesla. So keep in consideration that anything could happen. There's no such thing as a sure thing, and you should never play with more than you could afford to lose. Well, we got one last question. What do you think is the possible future value? It's hard to say, man. It's I think that it wouldn't be crazy to assume that it can mimic the real land value on Earth or even exceed it, because there's more potential for this land. So take that all with a grain of salt. I don't think we're going to see the limitations for months, if not years. I don't think there will probably be a market correction maybe coming up within the first year, but I think it's still so new that it will climb substantially. And a market correction would be, it'd be hard to, it'd be possible. I'm not going to be too optimistic when I tell other people how to play with their money. I'm just putting money in. That's all I'm doing. So have a good one, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time.